call the meeting to order. Will everybody please rise for the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Robinson, Ms. Lynn. Here. Mr. Cherry. Here. Mr. Dornan. Mr. Goldberg. Here. Mr. Nevis. I'm here. Mr. Vaca. Present. Mr. Brandt. Here. Ms. Dice.
Here.
Mr. Antonacci. Here. Chief Carlson, he's here. Mr. Attorney Bucker. Mr. Radcliffe. Here.
You all have received a copy of the minutes for the meeting on 12/18/2024. What are the wishes of council?
I make a motion, we accept them as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Do I have any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm here.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? The motion carries. All right, we have public comment.
You have one.
Greg, you're up.
Fire Department.
Okay, we've been talking, I talked to Terry, Dave, and a few people. We've been discussing it for probably about 6 to 8 months about applying for the casino grant, which for a new fire truck. And we started, hoping council will support us for it. We have a list of the repairs that need done to engine one. And some of the repairs cannot be made. They can't get parts for it. The truck is 33 years old. 33 years old. One of the issues we're having is the fuel tank. They can't find a fuel tank that will fit that. And he's trying to find even if there's a place that can have it specially made. Another issue is the transfer cases leaking on it. Greg has copies of all repairs from 2 different entities. One is Fast, which does the pump checks and all that on it. And the truck is 32 years old. And, to get a new truck, it's taking roughly 2.5 to 3 years by the time you place the order for it. And a new truck, you're looking at between $900,000 and $1 million. And it would be great if we could apply for a grant. Anybody have any questions?
You have enough copies for all?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
How old did you say the truck was?
It is a 1992, so it is 33 years old, and our newest truck is a 2003, which we've got 22 years on it. As you can see in our station, anybody that's been in there, we do take really good care of our equipment. They're still nice, shiny, and red, but underneath that shiny red, it's showing its age. On that fast report, there's a list of problems with engine 2 too. We are addressing problems that we have to get done immediately. Such for on engine 1, we replaced the steering tires on that in October as per inspection, and he also told us that we're going to need 4 rear tires on it. And the cost of the 4 rear tires are approximately $4,000. And Schulteis did not put a price on his repairs because most of the parts on there he can't get, he's searching for. So he said, there's not much he can do if he can't find parts with it. But I know the exhaust system, he said, just the exhaust system, the muffler alone, he said it's gonna be over $5,000 for the repair. So I mean, we're gonna be facing some big repairs. And I'd love to see us be able to go for this grant, the borough apply for it, for a new truck, and hopefully we would get support of, but we definitely got the support of Brian on in Harrison City. And I'm sure Kim Ward would back us and support us. Kim's always supported us in the past. So I'd love council to consider this. Does anybody have any questions?
Do you have the cost of repairs by chance?
That's what I was just saying. Most of the parts aren't available, so he can't even give a price. All he told me was big bucks. He said, your eyes will go back in your head once we find the prices, and even if we can get them. And he says, basically said it's almost, the truck isn't worth repair. The truck looks fantastic from the outside, it's just 32 years old and it's starting to rust up. It's getting old.
So I can tell you that I just had, Rob Retson.
Which chief of staff?
He was just up in,
I was talking to Jen.
okay, well, I saw Rob last week, and I was talking to him about the LSA grant for an engine, the truck. And I don't want to discourage it, but he pretty much said that probably not.
It's a
Because he
possibility.
said that everybody, the truck being $1 million, and with all the boroughs and all the counties and everything, it just, he said they're good luck, is what he said.
You're
You're not probably gonna get it.
You are probably right. And so you all know, we have applied for the federal grant for how many years, Mike? For a new truck? Once you say 5 to 8 years?
Probably 5.
So, I mean, if we don't apply, we don't get it.
Right.
You know, we gotta start getting serious about replacing this truck because, like I said, our newest engine is 22 years.
But instead of applying for a new truck, isn't there maybe a grant that you apply for or something to help fix these things or do other modifications?
The problem is the parts you can't get.
Well, in the meantime, about sell some of this trucks and get maybe a used truck.
We would sell that truck if we purchased another truck.
Good luck selling it, I mean,
It's
you're not
30
gonna buy
years
another
old.
truck that you can't get parts for, it doesn't work, you know?
I get it, you know, I'm here to help, right? But I'm also trying to look for options in the meantime.
And see,
We
that's
have to do
what,
something in the meantime.
that's what we were doing, trying to apply for this grant because
That grant.
I've been on council for 8 years and we've been talking about a truck for 8 years and nobody has even placed an order yet.
no, we have not. We have not had
They
any
have
commitment.
low interest rate loans that,
Which we have acquired in the past, that you
Right.
know of. Because we've done the 2% loan with the borough for the last term, right?
what's that?
You know that, right?
What, I
Yeah, we
didn't
did.
hear the whole thing, I'm sorry.
We have applied for 2% loan in the past that the borough has helped us with on the truck.
Okay.
So that's, as far as I'm aware, that's the lowest percentage rate that you can get on
I don't know what it is now, but yeah.
They have, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, they just increased that to 500,000 on a 2% loan?
I'm not aware of that.
I thought it was 275.
Let me look here.
While you're doing that, can you kind of break this down for us? If we're talking about $1 million truck, and there's grant money, and loan money, and whatever it may be, what is your anticipation of getting what grant, how much of that grant would you be looking to apply for? And is there any balance left of that $1 million? Who's gonna pay that?
From now this is just hearsay. This was talking to different, government agencies. You would apply for the full amount.
Okay,
They might come back and say, well, we'll approve 500,000 towards that.
good.
Then you have to come up with the other 500,000 and say, okay, either you can come up with it, or you don't get it.
When you say you, who is you, the fire department?
Fire department.
Okay. And if the event that happens, do you have the ability to get that 500,000?
You have to ask our president that.
Do you mean, do we have it in the bank right now, or
I
do you mean, would we need to?
no,
get
let me
done?
say this, if you're applying for a grant and you think you may not get the full amount, you might get half.
Mhm.
You had to have a plan that says, and whatever amount we get, we can get X number of dollars from here and X number from there. Have you worked that plan out?
Well, we have what's in our truck fund. We have an account that is just for purchasing a new truck. I don't have that number off the top of my head, I can look it up and get it to you, how much we'd have. Even just ballparking, I wanna say maybe a couple thousand.
I'd be wrong by speaking on any of that.
I think it's 200.
Okay, so in the event, that's 700. Just saying that it could happen. Where are you gonna get the other 300?
Would they maybe have come with it all up front?
No,
No.
they're, each manufacturer, they also have financing available. It's not gonna be at the 2%. I don't know the percentage of it, but I was notified on Wednesday, November 27th at 5:30 from a salesman that, the 2% loan is up to $500,000, which is good for a lot of fire departments. So it is up to 500,000 on a 2% loan through the state.
Okay, so if you got that loan, if you got a $500,000 grant, you spend 200 of your own, you get a $300,000, 2% loan. Do you have the income to pay that 2% loan?
I would say yes.
Okay, so realistically, then, as a borough, we are only supporting you for a grant. The rest of this you already got. You'll be able to get whatever else you need.
If the grant's
I
approved,
mean, we'd be on we would still have to come up with 500,000, a payment back of over 500,000.
But you'd be assuming, Greg, that, like, you won't know, like, I forget if it's September or October. The statewide LSA grant is due at the end of 1 month, and the category 4, which is the casino one's due the opposite month. But it's usually like 6 months or so after that, where you can find out if you get it. And
have to apply for the grant. The borough, just like you did for the radio,
Okay.
she would have to write whatever that's called. And you, Joe, would have to write the grant.
Okay.
Application.
Yeah. Well, so realistically, you're just asking for us to go through the steps with you. We have no obligation
Well, hold on.
financially, am I correct?
We
Well,
have
that's
to
why I
find
have to
out.
look at the LSA grant regulations of whether or not, because if you're not getting the full amount for the truck, then what happens with, if you guys are funding the remaining amount, whether it's through your own finances or, and then additional financing through a loan, just, we don't, Manor Borough does not want to be responsible for the remaining balance of the truck. So that's what I'd have to look at the grant to see what we would do, because generally speaking, we purchase, we get the whole amount, and then we give it to you, like title it over to you, but because it's not gonna be able to be titled until you have all the funds, I have to look at that to make sure that we can, I don't want Manor to be obligated for the extra $500,000 or $400,000. I'll look at that, and if that's the case, I can report back to you, and I can get a resolution together if you guys so choose, and then report back to you exactly how that works next month. So you'll have both options and know what you need to do, whether you want to or not, if we do have financial responsibility as Manor. Okay?
Yeah, I just think, I'm not saying that for any reason for what we would vote, other than we just need to know everything on the table, and if that's one of them, if it's a problem, we gotta find out how to do it. You know what I mean, I don't want you to sit here and be in a position that I mentioned this earlier tonight. I don't want you to have to come in here every month with a new plan for the next 9 months, and then still have to wait 3 years for a truck. I wanna get everything on the table, look at the whole package, find the very best route for the fire department and the borough, and we got a plan. You know what I mean? And whichever way it takes to make that work, it should.
Well, I will let you know that we would be coming to the borough for help also, for whether it's 50-50, we'll just call it 50-50 now, and we're only speaking round terms of $500,000 grant, $250 to the borough, $250 to the department, if that worked out. So I don't know if that adjusts what she would be looking into on the grant. The proposal that I had brought to you, I think 4 years ago, maybe more, it was not well accepted, was still a 50-50 split on a truck. Looking back now, would have been damn nice to have that truck, because it's double.
So realistically, for us, it's what the solicitor finds out for liability purposes, and for the rest of us to consider, do we have the funding and the approval of people to spend $250,000 on a truck? If that's the number.
Correct.
It
If
could
that's the
even
number.
change.
Well, and
Could
that's
be
the
more,
thing.
could be less, we don't know that yet.
With the LSA, because they share with everything statewide, you don't know what you're gonna get.
Oh, yeah. They don't even know what the pot money is.
You don't know how many people are gonna apply, what they're
Right.
asking for.
Correct,
Yeah.
and that's the
If
other
it's
part.
split between 10 municipalities, that's great. If it's
If
with
it's-
100,
Right.
they're gonna try to satisfy everybody by giving them a little taste.
It's everybody statewide for that one.
Yeah, so it could be a lot, and what's the total amount of that grant?
You don't know, it's based every year on the revenue the state gets from the casinos.
What was it last year? Does anybody know what it was last year?
Jeanette got 1.4 million towards the new fire department.
Did it?
Jeanette.
You can't go by Jeanette, because they're still somewhat considered distressed community.
When did they get that, last
In
year?
our city.
I'm gonna say 2
And they're a
years.
city as well.
2 years?
Maybe a little bit longer.
That wasn't what I was saying? No. So,
It was a King Ward
funded
route.
Gotcha.
I think the main reason that we went this route was we haven't had much success with the federal grant, along with quite a few other departments.
Do you get any feedback with those federal grants on why you're denied?
I don't know that. Mike handled that before. I don't, just to get a denial letter is all I've ever heard.
Yeah, I just didn't know if they would,
One reason I would say strongly that we leaned this way for another option from the federal grant was there is another department within, it's in Unity Township. They were applying through this grant for a $1 million, $1.3 million ladder truck. I'm not saying that they are getting it. It's the first we heard of people applying for this, from this grant for a truck. So we thought that it could be another avenue we could go to.
Yeah.
And it may be something like you're saying, just for round numbers, nothing is set in stone. We're gonna say $1 million truck. If we could go and it would look better to apply for 500,000, show them that we were gonna come up with the other 500,000, maybe it would go better. I don't know that.
I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's the case on the other side.
well, I'm sure they look at, they got a pot of money, and they're gonna try to satisfy everybody's request, but obviously some places have a little more juice or pull or political clout than somebody else, so.
Right.
And I know I've asked a million times, but why can't we go with a smaller truck?
This, like I already said, this is just a round number. That's, we're only looking, we got one price from one manufacturer. Just like vehicles, there's several different manufacturers. Neighboring department got one. I don't know the exact number, but probably $250,000 cheaper. I don't know that truck, that manufacturer will even do anything that we may want. We're just starting our truck committee meeting, to talk to other manufacturers. So it could go anywhere from $750,000 to $1 million. We don't know where it is coming in.
What's the deadline on this grant?
It's like October.
It's either September or October, I
It
think.
opens in September and closes in November.
Yeah, okay, so that's what it is.
So, okay, so that's the statewide one.
And when do they,
The other one
when do
closes
they
in
provide
October.
the decision? January?
I can't answer that, Chuck, but
No, that's.
the reason why I'm asking, we're requesting to get the ball rolling now, so we are prepared to apply if you guys support us, instead of having to rush around and try to get things.
Totally get that, and 100% agree with you. So, just my suggestion, I'd write up that business plan for that truck. And actually get pictures, whatever that manufacturer can give
Well,
you.
we already.
And I would check with a hand, what we have to do here to spend money is put bids out. We have to get 3, 4, some verbals, some written, all kind of things. I mean, basically, if you're talking about, even if you had $1 million in your pocket to buy this truck, you still should do $1 million worth of homework on making sure that you got a book that says, I've done my homework to get to this point.
Absolutely.
Here's exactly what we're gonna do and how we're gonna do it. And if you take, a real short period of time here now and get that ready, whatever you propose to council, you're gonna need as much time as you need. If it's more than us just saying, we just have to sign, if the solicitor comes back and all we have to do is sign and turn that over to you and we're done and it's nothing, that's easy. But if you have any other contingencies, you wanna get them hammered out now.
Great.
I don't know that it's easy to apply for it. I know.
No, I mean, if you have your plan
Oh,
in
okay.
place, if your plan is in place and you got an agreement with the municipality on anything that they do, from just signing for the grant or even contributing, whatever that is, when you apply for that grant, if you have that plan completely laid out, is all they know they have to do is plug their money in it, then you got a whole lot better chance of getting that through them. I went to a grant writing seminar at one point, and one thing that still sticks in my mind, they said a story about when they review them, the first thing they look at is up in the upper right-hand corner. Did they date it? And did they put their own name, contact information in there? If that isn't, if they don't, you don't have that, they put you in this pile, which means all the people who filled out everything else completely accurately, they go in another pile. And then the ones most prepared go in another pile. And then they go to those best applications and look at them to decide. These are easy to decide because everything is here. Anything, then if they don't use up all the money with them, they go to the next prepared one. So my belief is, if they're all like this other grant money, the more prepared your proposal is, the easier it is for them to approve. Maybe it gets you more. So if you can get past the borough, get your plan together, I think your application is gonna be a lot better, and I agree with those deadlines. You're probably gonna need a couple of months at least to get that submitted after you get past us.
Yeah.
Just might clean it, the whole thing up, I don't know.
Hey Greg, when they give you a quote, like how long are they holding the quotes for? Because with this thing being so far away, even being able to put in for it, I don't think they're gonna wanna see a quote that's like 8 months old, so we can put in for it.
Well,
I mean, have you guys gotten any quotes recently, or they just like hold them for 30 days?
I can't even tell you, it was just a revised quote from what we had prior to coming to you guys 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's when Brian was still here.
The manufacturer went back through some of the stuff that we even had in those specs. You can't even get it anymore, they don't do it. So he updated all that stuff, he took some stuff out, and he updated, it was just an email price that it'll shock you what it went up. And he gave us
Probably not.
it was, I didn't expect it, it was 985,000. And that wasn't like sitting down, going through the specs, yes, this, no, that. It was just off the specs that we had before. So.
And those specs aren't a fancy truck? It's not a custom pump panel, it's a basic fire truck, similar to what we have.
Now, you will hear of other departments getting, I don't know, $600,000 truck. Those trucks, they look fancy. They have a lot of plastic chrome on. As you all have heard, this truck we have sitting over there is 33 years old. I don't know that the other trucks are gonna make it 33 years. It is a $600,000 truck.
I don't know what it was, I know it's been quite a few years ago, Claridge bought a truck that I saw that was on a Freightliner check.
Yeah, they don't like it at all.
Depends who you talk to.
No. That's right, depends who you talk to.
Yeah.
Guys you talk to like it.
Some guys like it, some guys don't.
It had a lot of a lot of manufacturers will do it. A lot of them don't recommend it. I mean, it's one of those, either Mercedes or you.
Yeah, I mean, do you want it to look nice and pretty and shiny for parade?
Well,
trips?
you don't
just
want it
need
to
the
do that, you want it to be able to function correctly
Yeah.
on demand.
And you wanna be able to get.
You were
it through
saying
power.
all the chrome and stuff, though.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, a lot of the stuff is plastic. Where this, at least with the truck that we have, is extruded aluminum. A lot of the other ones have aluminum, but it's not extruded. If you wanna know that stuff, we can sit down and talk about that.
Well, nothing you buy today is gonna last like that 20 or 30-year-old truck.
I'm sorry?
Nothing you buy today is gonna last like that 20 or 30-year-old
No,
truck.
right.
Yes.
Greg, what happened to, several years ago? You guys were looking into buying a truck from, I forget which fire department, but it was like light blue.
Yeah.
And you had it out here for us to look at,
Mhm.
and then we didn't hear anything more. What happened with that?
We ended up purchasing that used truck.
Oh,
had it
okay.
repainted. It's the
Okay.
service truck over there now.
That was from Youngwood?
Yeah.
Youngwood, that's it.
That's what lit up the lights over there for Christmas.
Okay.
So
It's a
that's
good
the,
job on that.
that's the 22?
A wonderful job.
Is that the 22?
No, that would be 30 years old.
That was 30.
Yeah, 'cause we have a 92, and that's a 95, or,
So you have 3 trucks?
yes. 2 engines, 1 service truck. The other one, the service truck has no pump to it. It doesn't carry any water, doesn't fight any fires. It's more traffic and lighting and, flood basements type stuff. Anything else?
And which one of those is 13.2?
That's one of the engines.
These are two different ones, 13.1 and 13.2.
Yeah.
13.1 is the big one that you want to replace most.
Yes.
Okay, 13.2 is that, the other
Engine.
That's
truck, the
22.
other engine,
2003.
and the one you're talking about is just not on there.
Did he ask about?
Yeah, this one that was painted.
Yeah, no, that's not on there.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't put anything on that, take credit of that stuff. We're trying to replace an engine and all, nothing else.
Okay.
Anything else?
Public conversation.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, mayor's report?
You all received your police report, calls from us, and your zoning ordinance reports. Other than that, that's all I got.
Okay. Solicitor's report?
Nothing at this time?
Engineer's report?
We're gonna talk about, street paving first, and then later on in the meeting, I'll just defer to that time.
Okay. Zoning officer's report? Borough manager's report?
The only thing I have is we started to put up the new welcome to Manor signs. One got up on Manor Harrison City Road. And can't remember where the other one went, but then we got hit by the snow, so we, as soon as we get a break in the snow, we'll get back to those.
Okay. Everyone should have received a copy of the treasurer's report. What are the wishes of council?
I make a motion, we accept it as presented.
I'll second it.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor? I only heard 2.
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed?
Sorry, I was driving.
The motion carries. You've all received a copy of the tax collector's report. What are the wishes of council?
I'll make a motion to accept or submit it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports, buildings and properties?
I just have one question, it's about the park down there. From our last discussion about the park, is the park in the winter open and closed?
The park is open in the winter.
Okay.
The water's off in the bathroom.
Yes, and the water's off in the bathroom, because my question of that was, I couldn't remember from the meeting what we actually said about is the park. I think you said something about North Rochelle, they closed the park
No, we
in the
leave
winter.
it
But that
open.
park is open?
We leave it open, and the guys have actually, since you guys bought that broom attachment
They cleaned off the.
for the line track with it,
Yeah.
when they do all the walks, they go over there and they do the whole track around the park and
Yeah, I've
everything.
seen it.
I
So,
saw that on Monday.
Okay, so probably for the next meeting, I'll bring up again another proposal about getting heat in that bathroom. If we've got it. Did you change the lock time? The hammer and the lock, is the bathroom permanently locked
I
now?
didn't do anything with the time, I called and they told me how to just override everything, so it was locked, and then there's a reverse code.
Yeah, the reverse
I
code
can't
just
tell
shuts
you
it
guys
off.
I had the right time.
Shuts it off until you fire it up again and it goes back to the last program time.
The times are still there, yeah.
Yeah, they're still gonna be there. All right. Oh, since you mentioned, since we said that, I continue to get copies because Go Keyless was the company I originally got for the locks. So they keep me in their email loop, and I'm still getting a Manor Borough bill from, it's titled To Alicia, Manor, Borough. Goes back to services from 5/14/24 and 7/4/24, totaling $276. And this statement was closed out at November 30th.
What's it for?
They're just calling them invoices.
I have no idea. If you wanna forward it to us, we can look into it, because Christina still gets all emails that are sent to administrative assistants, so I don't know why she's not getting them.
Yeah, because I called about this back last year somewhere when it showed up in my email. And, they said it was, back then, it was, something ordered by Alicia. I think their $100 amount was, what do we call it? You call them up and pay for their knowledge to walk you through something.
Yeah, we
And
can
then the
talk.
other one, the $176.47 was the purchase of something. What, I don't know.
There's two of them.
So back in September is what they said, and I haven't got one since this one, which was in early December, so it's not even a month old yet.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Anything else, Jim?
No.
You should have forwarded this.
Community betterment and Parks and Rec? That's Ted, isn't it?
Any course?
Personnel and finance,
Think I'm Ted.
Nothing at this time?
community outreach and communication,
Nothing at this time.
planning and zoning.
Monday's meeting was snowed out. Enough members couldn't make it, so there wasn't a meeting on Monday. Let me update you on this. The microphones in front of you, when you go to use them, it'll be push the green button. Above it, there's a little red button. When the red light is on, you're on. And then push it, turn them off. There's a side piece for headphones on the left side. On the right side is your volume and another headset. The reason why there's two there is if the two people sitting on the sides of it want to use the headset, they'll get the same direct voice as those pieces that'll be out here for ADA. You put in your ear, this will go through the same way coming through here. Right there, that is a grill in front of you above the green button. That whole area is actually a speaker as well. So what goes on through other mics will come right out of the front of that as a desktop speaker. Below you, you'll see that, and again, these are for every other person. It should be, for example, Ted and I should be heard with it just like that. If we find that it's a problem or anything, we can adjust this, we can adjust the box, or we just do this.
So, push the button and you gotta hold the button?
No, just push it, turn it on, push it, turn it off.
Okay.
That's why they put that light there, is so that you can look and see that your mic is still on. The chairman, this isn't working. Chairman's mic, you'll see that is a little different. You have a few extra buttons on it. And it's because if you have an issue, you can close out all the mics, turn them off. Look at the front. I think it's beside the green button.
Oh, I gotcha, it works.
That way, it won't work now. You don't plug it. So they're gonna be pretty simple. And for where this is drilled, you can put we find out, well, it's fired up, that it's better to put it out there, you can do that. Put it wherever it's comfortable for you if you need desktop, so it could be out of the way. I'm waiting for McCarty to do underneath, just directly below this, is to shelf this all the way around, a very short shelf. It'll be, it's U-shaped, screwed into the back, and the reason for that is that the very thin part on top is where all these wires will get pushed, so there's nothing hanging down below. And we're gonna coil up this one right below it, So if we ever get to the point where we wanna take the microphones off, just reach underneath there, disconnect them, pull right out of the top. They won't be here at all. The speakers out there, we gotta get them off the ground. They should be at least mounted there, or at least a small shelf that they sit on, because sitting on the ground where they are, what came with this we can return is stands. If you went to a nightclub and saw a band and they had a tripod and their speakers up in the air, that's what came with those. And it's so big that on its lowest setting, it's sticking up over the top. So all we really need to do with that is get a small triangular shelf mounted there, set the speaker right on top of it, and then hook up and drill another hole in the back there and get the wire inside. Because right now it doesn't have a hole for that.
So you're gonna get Dan to put a shelf on each corner?
Yeah, each corner and raise the speakers up. Then, there needs to be probably right about in front of you, because underneath, it'll be wired. The boxes, I have the boxes, I had the electrician take a look at them. It was on Saturday, early evening, so took them up, I have them at my house. Then, for the width of that sits on, he looked at, of course, how much space we're gonna need in the back, all the pieces that go into it, because I'm surely not the electronic guru. I sat there and read them. I think I can wire them myself. However, I don't want to turn them on. I don't want to be the one to do that. So he can do that. And so it's just a matter of a little more time, but most importantly, put the rest of this in and just drop wires. Is that cable still in over there? Underneath the rubber? Did it stay?
Yeah, right underneath my chair.
Oh, is it?
It straddles, his chair straddles.
There's no cable.
This?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing.
No, there's nothing in it, but did it stay on the floor?
Well,
Oh,
we take
really?
it and run,
Yeah.
it's still
It
there.
does.
It's gonna need.
You can
glued down.
decide with maintenance if it has to be, I don't know if it needs to be Velcro down or double face taped or something. You figure, otherwise it's gonna be more permanent, but
Just gonna cost us more money.
it is what it is. But, so that box should stay somewhat close to that, because once we bring that wire up in there, that'll be the brains of the whole thing will sit right there. There's extensions on all of these cables to get from, for example, that one. He's looking at the series of being able to tie each one through a connector at each end rather than using long cables, so we may have a few things to send back, which would be good. But we'll see how that goes, and hopefully shortly it's in.
Are we gonna be charged more money for these shelves and stuff?
I would hope not.
And we need drilling
At this point, I don't want to put a budget together or anything, I just wanna get it finished. If something comes to that point that it has to be, I'll deal with it. But for now, I don't wanna open the door and
Well,
take dollars out on the table and say, does anybody need anything? I don't wanna do that.
Did he say anything to you though?
He's a good guy, I don't think he has an issue, but hey,
well, it's gonna be, I mean, we were close to the threshold as it was with this.
we were right on the number because, we should have been right on the number because it was his bid and.
Yeah, we were
I don't think he should have got
a
paid.
couple $100 shy of what it would have taken us to the next bidding threshold, where we had to get 3 quotes.
I don't wanna have to bother, I don't even wanna do that. The way I look at it is, man gave a good, honest, quote. I think it was a good quote for what he did. And, if we have a few little things that need to be done, they can get done. I don't want to get into this.
So if we're gonna do a few little things, can we get the chairs?
This guy wants wheels and a motor so we can drive it around the room.
We just had a request for new chairs as well.
But that's not much. But let me tell you, I did look at them, they are nice.
Make sure they come from
If they
each.
charge us
Rocker on, cushions, you
Right.
can adjust the height,
Would've been
you
fresh
know.
what we were talking
Chairs.
in. I'm needing the table.
So,
I'm so short.
So Chuck, we have to definitely keep it below the bid threshold, otherwise we would have had to have gone out and get 3 quotes. So if he's not charging you anything, that's perfect.
Yes, well, we're gonna work it out so that doesn't happen.
All right, as long as it doesn't happen, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so am I, that, you know, that, when that number came in that close, I said, you're right at the minimum, maximum, I can't do anything else. But, you know, so.
Alright,
Okay.
These aren't big, these are not big deal things. These are scrap materials from cutting things that go underneath here. So, I'll keep the number.
Anything else? All right, public safety and public works?
I have nothing.
I have nothing. Okay. Well, business, discussion and or deliberation and or official action on appointing a third-party code inspection and permitting service entity for both residential and non-residential activities regulated by the UCC. What are the wishes of council? I didn't receive anything. I've been waiting.
I'm waiting for the same guy to give us everything to the same. He hasn't done anything yet. We can discuss it out of here.
Where we have to take it to executive session or what?
and you guys can decide whether you want to, if you have a vendor that you wanna hire, you can, if you the next month, it's up to you guys what you want to do.
Listen, but I don't understand. Let me say this. Someone coming in to provide services to a municipality reads and agrees to a contract provided by that municipality. We're not at that point for anybody. We've never said to our solicitor, draw up a contract. That no matter who we bring in, we'll follow our contract. We never got a contract out in front of us that said, this is the requirements of the company, this is what they will be paid, this will be how they'll provide you services. We haven't gotten that yet. For us to reach outside of our solicitor and even consider somebody else's contract they bring in, that's a slap in our solicitor's face. It's our solicitor that's supposed to be preparing that document.
When we write the bid or the RFP out, who wrote that?
I did,
Yeah,
yeah.
So Chelsea did write.
right, she wrote that, but that's not the contract.
But it,
The
so
it will
if
be
you
voted.
had individuals that you, or entities that you interviewed as a result that may or may not have satisfied the RFP, you did those interviews in your, from your committee. At some point, whether, you know, you can make a recommendation of who you think should be hired or not hired, and then council can adopt whether they take your recommendation or make a motion to accept somebody else, but it's following what the RFP indicates, and then they'd follow through with those requirements of what we put in the RFP. So what, if they gave you a fee schedule in your interview, that's the fee schedule that we would be following through, and then we would adopt that through our fee schedule, something like that. And I didn't look at them to the extent of, does this fee match what we currently are charging individuals? I didn't look at any of that, but, assuming that's all the same, then you wouldn't have to change your fee schedule. So it just depends on what you wanna do, but.
Well, when we did the homework of comparing what we were paying and then what we are paying, there was a lot of confusion about how things got to be where they are today. Because we didn't do anything at a public meeting that said that we were going to change fee structures, and they have changed since what we had before. We've done nothing here except to get through the interview process, have two viable candidates, and we've been running on this month to month that should be run by our old obligation.
That's what it is right now. Under the COGS fees are not included in the obligation, because COG's not part of it anymore, but that's what we've been operating under, is the old fees. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but,
That's correct.
yeah.
If,
So-
if I could, apply for anything today, will those numbers be the same numbers as what I would have paid with COG?
I believe the difference is, I think it's
It should
actually the
be.
same, and the monies that were going to the
It's
COG
just
go
how-
now to Manor.
It's just how the money, the building permit fee is divided up.
So the
So
COG
the
money
reality is-
now goes back to Manor instead of the COG giving it.
Correct.
So we're actually, Manor Borough is making more money out of it now than they did when COG was involved.
Right, so prior to Chuck, and we discussed this in both interviews, was the fee was 100% before. And our previous, well, the current BIU gets 70% of that fee. We got 20% and 10% went to COG. The current is 70% to BIU and 30% to Manor.
Okay, I know that.
That's the way it is now.
Right, so anything we do moving forward will probably change that.
Okay, but their 70% is still the same.
Right, exactly, and if the fee, that is the percentage. If the fee
Their
schedule,
70% is their 100%.
well, I totally get it, I mean, I understand that. They're not getting any bigger piece of the
Right.
pie. The question is the pie any bigger?
Well, that has nothing to do with the third-party company.
Yeah, yes, it does.
No, it
Sure does.
doesn't.
What are
Because
those?
it's our fee.
No, you're not hearing me, you're not hearing me. If the pie is 10 pounds, and they get 70%, and we get 30%, but if that was what it used to weigh with COG, if it is now 12 pounds, then that number is bigger to both entities, not just the 10%, but the additional weight. So the weight is the dollar amount. Is all of the services provided under the UCC being charged to our citizens at the exact same numbers they were when it was being charged through COG? If that number hasn't changed, then today, BIU is exactly in the financial position they were when COG was around. Manor Borough has increased by 10%. The same number then, no increase in those numbers today. If that's the case, that's the one thing we haven't been able to find out.
That is
So-
the case.
Okay, so,
So BIU is getting the same number today as they did 4 years ago.
okay, so that's an issue we should have known even during
We did.
at the time. No, we
We
didn't.
did. It's in my notes.
No,
It's in my notes.
No, we didn't, no, we get that here.
Chuck,
We get that
didn't
from
raise-
here.
We didn't raise our fee. BIU did not raise their fee.
Well, that's
The only difference is COG is not getting their fee. And you and Dave were the ones that wanted to get out of COG.
Oh, no.
Or, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no.
I'm sorry. Joe wanted to get out of COG.
We
Exactly.
had, COG was not functioning.
Yeah, but see,
COG
that's fine. That's not the issue,
Right.
wanting to get out of COG, because it was
So
brought to us
but
that there was a
BIU's
problem.
fee is not changing no matter what. That 70% is 100% for them. Do you follow me?
Oh, no, yeah, I totally understand that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is,
It's not changing. We can change our percentage,
no.
but that has nothing to do with
Okay, the
BIU.
percentage is not the issue today. That's not what I'm bringing up.
Right.
Do you remember looking at both of the applicants' fee schedules
Yes,
and laying them side by side
right.
and comparing them back to what we were paying, which we should be paying today? Everybody had increases, both sides, both of them. BIU increased some of their numbers. The other guy had higher numbers. So everybody was more than we did with COG, which is what we should be doing today. My point of that is simple. We got a third-party company today doing the work at the rates they charged us 4 years ago. So realistically, it's not fair to them. It's not fair to them to still be paying what they were 4 years ago. And we're talking about from COVID times, which everybody's numbers went up. That's why they presented those higher numbers to us. So, my point is, we have to do something with this. But we gotta pound these numbers out where we can get exactly what we're talking about now from the administration office, everything we need to get. And we need to lay it on the table. We got a big table now, stretch it out on the table and line item every one of the items. And then that has to fit in a contract you're gonna prepare. We can't bring you ridiculous things and ask for a contract with that.
So what I'm hearing is that whether you choose whatever vendor, that the fee schedule that we currently have needs to be amended to address whoever you hire, whether it's BIU or the other vendor that you interviewed. So that's what I'm hearing, is that correct?
Yes.
But other than that, and so you might want to do them at the same time, just so that your fee schedule is consistent, so that you're not paying out your vendor more money than what you're actually getting from the applicant.
Good.
Other than that, but the idea of the 70 and 30%, I don't think that has changed. They're still
Well, it
looking
hasn't,
for.
but there has been discussion about, since they come in with their own fee schedule, the discussion has come up about, well, then we'll have to figure out what amount of money do we want to add on to that for the borough.
Right.
Okay, and I know this, that borough can't just pick a number and find out at the end of the year, we're making money off of that. That's not one of our allowed things to make profit off of.
Well, for example, so if a building permit, I'm just the hard and fast numbers, if it was $100 today, and now the vendor is saying it should be $125, and you split your 20, your 30%, 70%, you might have to change your fee schedule now for the applicant to pay $125 for.
Oh, yeah, I
That's what you
agree.
have to do, but
And that's
you can
fine.
still adopt this vendor tonight, and by next month, have a fee schedule to follow whatever that fees are. Now, you might have a few permits or applications that come in during this month that you're gonna have to pay the lower fee than you are
Well,
what you adopt.
okay, that is realistically almost, to me, it's cut and paste. I
It's
mean,
very
it's
simple.
basically them saying, this is what we charge. If we agree to hire them, we gotta pay them that.
Right,
So if we add to it, yeah, cut and paste, put it in there, we're done.
right.
It's also the rest of the contract that's an issue. And in the fact that, as the conversations I had recently, when our third-party inspector makes decisions of their own that puts us in a liable position, which it has, then for those purposes, that contract has to be spelled out. That's going to say what they can and cannot do. We are too loose with that we have complaints from citizens. We talked about the liability issues that have come up. And you have an opportunity now to sew all that up and get past those liability issues in the contract with them. When a third party makes a decision to release his responsibilities to a paid employee of the borough, then we're paying him to do the job because he's on a fee schedule. We're paying the employee to actually take time they should be doing something else and going and doing something that can open a liability to us. There is no better time to fix that, I believe, than in a contract. And I think that needs our biggest discussion. The fee schedules, I think, are gonna be so much easier to fix. But that one, That's not the one that's the one everybody has to know about, and everybody has to realize it has to be solved. We can't just push it under the rug and not worry about it.
Well, I was part of the interview process with both companies, and just my recommendation, I'm gonna say, I recommend BIU. They were cheaper. They're currently with us. And with the other one, they were more expensive. They were less expensive on commercial, but we don't really have commercial in Manor. And when I asked them, would they negotiate on their fees, they said no. When I asked BIU if they would negotiate, they said yes. So my recommendation is we go with BIU.
Well, that's yours.
And I would make a
That's
motion.
yours, but you are washing right past exactly what I just said.
Okay,
You're
well,
going right past it. If the liabilities to this borough mean nothing to you, that's not important. You have to get somebody you know in a
you
position,
said.
even
that
though you're
you
leaving
wanna
us
put it
wide
in the
open.
contract, so
I'm
we-
sorry?
You said that you want stuff in the contract. So
Well, how do we recommend one until we have a contract that shows what that is?
What contract?
You
do we
show
have?
it to them and say, are you still honoring what you presented? Here's the contract we're going to use. They may say no.
So whenever Chelsea writes it up, then we put whatever we want in it.
What's the idea? So us by thinking we're gonna recommend, then what reason do you have to recommend somebody tonight? If you don't know what that
We've
contract
been going
is.
over this for a year and a half.
Yes.
And I second it.
I'm still sitting in the exact same position I was back then. You gotta remember, you just came in this just recently. You weren't
I was
fused
in the
into
same
this.
interviews that you were, Chuck.
Before that, you weren't involved in the first year of all of this.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. We do have a motion and we do have a second.
We do?
Yes.
Well, I didn't hear a motion.
I just
Yeah.
said, I made a motion that we go with
I
BIU.
seconded it.
Wait, one at a time, because I don't hear. Say this again now?
Jimmy?
One at a time, that's what I'm saying. One at a time.
I make a motion that we go with BIU.
And I second it.
Oh, that was a motion, okay.
So let's have a discussion.
All right.
Okay, now please go ahead.
Mr.
Let me just put it at this. Costs can be worked out. That's not the issue.
So what is your issue? Just
The
state it
issue-
in plain English.
How much plainer can I say? Well, let me say, I'm trying to be as nice as I can to not put too much on the table.
In the last meeting, we had a discussion, did we not,
Mhm.
in which, an executive session, which we told you that we told BIU that is no longer take place.
There's been a lot of things been told that I have seen broken over and over again.
Since we said it?
Yes. Oh, you mean since the executive session?
No, since we talked to that person about it's no more.
I
The
don't
stuff
know
that you
that.
had brought up was prior to
I
that.
don't know those dates, but let me say this. In business, you know what I do? I write it up, they sign it off, it goes in their file. It should be in that person's file, and it should be in BIU's file. We're sitting here talking about exposing
Correct.
to an entity
I
to
got
come
what
in the
you're saying.
borough. There is listen, the people to do the job, I don't have a problem with the people, they're good guys. But when they step over the line and reach in the wrong direction to open liability up for the borough, I'm gonna speak up about it.
Yeah.
But from that time, there has been multiple things that have been, we'll talk to somebody. When I was on a personnel committee, I don't know if I was removed because of some of the things I was bringing up, but the bottom line is, it doesn't matter to me. They still need brought up. They need to be to where if she has to defend something, we have a paper trail to prove where we stood, how we got there. And in this case, when he puts his work off on an employee here, there is nothing in writing here that says that from that meeting we had back there, I've yet to see a report about one discussion. So to me, since I haven't heard it, from anyone's mouth, other than the mouth saying that we told somebody something. It's not the first issue. If it's not in writing and it's not a document we can hold, it doesn't hold any water. We're leaving the borough open to a liability.
I got what you're saying.
Chelsea can tell you the process that is needed in the state of Pennsylvania of, and you probably know it because of unions, verbal, written, third warning, goodbye.
Correct.
That can be an employee of this borough, that could be a third-party inspector.
And
If we
find
don't
this-
open that door up, but we're gonna try to put one in without
we can
addressing
fire
this,
company at any time, correct, Chelsea?
Correct.
so you wanna wait until that happens, or you wanna be able to
No, no, no,
defend
no.
it?
But wait, did you guys just say, the first thing is verbal, right? So if my understanding is the verbal warning has been given to that employee, correct? Right?
I don't know that.
Well, the personnel committee has addressed that.
Hold on.
All of us.
Well,
Hold on.
it's
Right?
Hold on a second, because we're getting into a personnel issue that should not be here. Okay?
Yeah, you're right, we are going pretty.
So here's my question to you, Chuck. Say, Jim puts the motion out to take PIU, Dawn has seconded it. Say that he amends his motion, that we take them based on that kind of stuff cannot happen. The language she's gonna write.
You can amend it to.
Well, I'll certainly amend it to that.
I mean,
I'm
so-
ready my second.
Then at what point does that make you feel good?
It only will make me feel good that if we start reducing everything that goes on in writing.
Well, this would
Meaning
be-
that, meaning this,
We would have to
that
have-
we have to first, as a council, approve the contract that gets written. We approve that contract. And it will have to address these exact issues, leaving the borough liable. And when that's done, then there is no reason whatsoever not to pick whoever you want. It doesn't matter. So,
this is where I'm not understanding you. If we take somebody tonight and we hand them a contract that's written,
If they choose
if
not
they
to.
choose not to sign it, then they move along.
Right.
then why are we moving to try to go to that point when that same person you're trying to put in is already in? They're on a month-to-month today.
Because most
So
places
the
aren't gonna
reality
continue
is,
to be month to month.
well, we don't need to change anything right now, and we just need to wait for the contract, approve the contract. We could do that as soon as the next month's meeting. And then when you plug the person in the contract, then we're clean.
So here's my issue with what you just said. I've been waiting for information from the committee since last meeting, that I received none. Okay, so now you're telling me about more information. Am I gonna receive it?
No, I'm saying it's coming from the solicitor.
Okay, so I'm assuming it's gonna be received.
I'll get you a contract.
But it just, at this point, it feels like filibuster. Like we're just trying to walk every angle we can around this, and quite honestly, this has gone on for what, a year and,
A year and a half.
I mean,
I've been asking for this since day one.
the contract?
Dave will tell you about the first how many months it took us to then get a stack this deep that was of old documents that came from receipts from the zoning officer, permits, fee structures, how they were broken down. We've started this thing with zero. In other words, we were not handed a file and say, here, we're gonna advertise, you guys get it. You do everything. We didn't get anything. What we got was council saying, Dave and Chuck, how about if you head up that committee and do that? And then the day after that, I said to him, okay, so now what? And he said, well, I guess we have to, okay, fine. We made a plan a year and a half ago, and it laid out exactly what we needed, where we were gonna get it, what we we're gonna do with it. We put deadlines in our meetings to be ready here. Well, we didn't have the information to do that, did we? There was nothing we could
What
do.
information are you talking
Over the last many years, from, of course, since we've been doing this, we asked for, at that point, 3 years worth, I believe. Yeah, I think it was 3 years worth of, cost through building permits and zoning officer to establish, so what exactly has been going on? We had nothing to tell us what we were trying to
Who
interview.
did you ask for that information from?
The office.
Did they ask for that information?
Yeah, and they got it.
Yeah, eventually we got it.
When they asked for it, they got it.
Eventually we got it. It took months.
Okay.
I don't believe that.
I do. Well, Dave?
Mr. President.
Yeah. Hold on, there's some stuff that needs to be clear, okay?
So, all that aside, the bottom line is we are where we are, plus we took some months here and then keep extending his month to month to let them continue to work.
Well, we took the month to month because we hadn't made a decision.
Exactly. Because we couldn't, because of these same issues I'm bringing up now. That's what held us back.
But you're talking about writing something in a contract that states that pretty much it's their work, they need to do it.
Yeah, but it's a little, let's put it this way.
Just
As
for
long
sake
as
of-
our solicitor says, this is what gives us a department and how they have to operate, that will not open a liability to the borough. If the solicitor says that, she will tell you of all the things I've asked that she does. When she's done, I'm done. I know that liability, and I don't want to be in the middle of it.
Okay, so and that's what I'm trying to get at. She writes this up tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I get it done in a few days.
Even if we choose somebody today,
You don't have it done now.
they don't have to sign that if they don't agree to that, those terms,
Yeah, but.
they don't have to sign that contract. She can show it to you first, whatever, they still have to sign it.
But what if, you're gonna try to tell somebody today that they have the job if they'll sign the contract. And we have to beat up that contract and make sure that that flow we're worried about is in there.
Here's my thing though, if you wanted a contract written, then why haven't you already done it? That's the question I'm getting at. This is a year and a half, and I've never heard anything about a contract right now.
Yes, because it's my last thing that came to me to say, what are you gonna do to reduce liability to the borough? It was every time, when I tried to reduce that, was the discussions back there, out here, wherever it was, to say, guys, here's our problem, what are we going to do about it?
Well, no, we
I
understand
wasn't
that.
trying to make those decisions on my own.
And we, personnel committee and myself, we handled those issues that you talked about.
Well, maybe, but I don't know that.
Well, at some point, the report will be written, which hopefully will be next month.
You'll have it, depending on what the personnel committee wants to do.
So, I mean, you can ask her, so she ain't gonna lie to you, we did it. She
Oh, I
was
know,
there.
I've had discussions with her, I trust her.
So she was there when we did it. To that exact, what you're talking about. So, and as far as I was made aware, from that point forward, there was no more involving somebody else.
Well, let me say this, and then I think I'll stop with that, because I don't wanna, I personally don't wanna open it any wider.
Gotcha.
But I think that, you at work, you with unions.
Yeah,
I'm self-employed, have been since I think I was old enough to vote. There is laws we all follow in labor laws. There are requirements we have to do, but there is also things the employee must follow. To me, I don't know any other way to handle these situations to go down that line. And it is to write things up, open the book, signed by the employer, signed by the employee, put in that book, and you always hope it solves every bit of the problems. And you move forward, and everybody should be happy. But if one side or the other does not follow that, we're back to the next stage. If it doesn't work after that, I'll tell you, relatives, I've said, I can't do this anymore. There's the door.
right, I got you.
Okay? But the reason for that is preservation, in my case, of the corporation as a whole. Here is the preservation of the town.
Correct.
That I believe that we have to do the same things a business has to do to preserve itself. Well, we have to do that here at this table because of everything we do. We got fire departments asking to help us with engines. We have costs of everything in the borough. We got questioned about $2 million in a sewer fund. We have a lot of things to be responsible for.
Correct.
Well, if we operate as clean and professionally as we can, these are never issues. I'm still very concerned about just that issue. Don't put the cart in front of the horse. The horse is already fed and it's already running. Let's build the cart. She can do this contract. We can beat it up, make sure it touches on everybody's mind for it. And you know me well enough to know as soon as something hits, I'm done. I shut up. And I vote for it. But I just don't believe that if we don't follow that deep of a detail, it may not be handled. And we'll be back doing this again. And I don't want to do that. With this, I want summer's coming.
Correct.
I want to be able to let them do
That's
that.
everything.
Yeah. We have to prepare for it now. And we should have
That's summer.
someone in there with a contract we prepared. Not they, because you gotta remember, BIU also gave us their contract, not just fee schedule.
Okay, I mean, that's probably standard practice for that.
That might be for them.
Right.
But it's not, when you're giving out the work, it's your contract, they sign on, not you signing on to what they want. And then because of this practice recently, well, it's not recently it came up. Because of things like that, it says that if they have that control to make that happen before, what do you think they're gonna think? They're gonna have control council too? Look, where's the empty chair? You gotta keep all that in mind. We don't even have BIU representing us tonight, but at every council meeting, you're calling out their name.
Correct.
But they're never here. So
Well, that's not true.
I see the mayor, I see the engineer, I see everybody.
That is not true, because I've asked him to come and pass, and he hasn't. I don't ask, because I don't want to pay him. Basically.
But
That's why I don't
He's
ask him
listed
to come.
here.
I got you. But so was the chief, when George was here, and George didn't always come.
yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Because I'm not paying a guy if he's not necessary. That's at least my take on this.
I would
don't
drop
wanna
him
spend
off
their
the
money.
agenda then. Drop him off this agenda. Because we're calling out his name, and it really doesn't make sense, we're calling out a man's name, and we're calling out from a report from him, and we know they're not gonna be here. If you know they're gonna be here, you can add them to the agenda. Instead, he doesn't show what we still represent, that he's here.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that. Because that's like you and I, if one of us isn't here, they're still calling our name.
Right. It's a roll call. So it mainly
Right.
says here because of that you do require him to be here because we're calling his name out at every meeting.
Well, I don't know if that's the case either. Do you know
Does
that we
require to be
require the chief to be here?
You call his name out and he's always here, so I can see why he's on the agenda.
Chuck, I get what you're saying, and I know you're messing around a little bit.
No, not really. I think we should drop his name off there.
I disagree. I
It
don't
makes
think
us
it
look
hurts.
bad. We got an
Because,
empty
well,
seat.
you know,
It's your choice. You write the agenda.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. It's your choice. But,
well,
so I just don't want to be in that position later that it will still run the way he wants to after they're in here. Because that contract has to have the at will in there. And if those things are broken, it should roll. No question about it. Because that liability is not something we should be one day having to tell the people of this town, we need to raise your taxes to pay off this lawsuit. No.
there.
One thing Chuck did mention I liked was the fact he said about the zoning officer's report. No, he is never here, and I know that he doesn't want paid, and he lives a long ways away and all that happy stuff, but I think that he still should be required to turn in a report to the administration office in which the borough manager to read into this meeting. I think that we deserve to at least have a report what he's doing, because unfortunately at this point in time, And not that I'm saying I don't trust him, I'm not saying that at all, but we really don't know what he's up to. We don't know how many he's done and things
I
like
can
that.
absolutely get behind that.
Okay. The other thing
Shouldn't
is,
be doing that to my committee. But I've called meetings, I've called meetings, he just doesn't show up.
He doesn't show up,
Does
or
not
he has
show up.
conflicts.
One he did not show up, and the other one, yeah, he called saying he was going, his boss said he's going on a family,
That was the
something
interview.
or other.
That was the interview.
That was the second meeting that he was asked to
Okay.
come to.
Well, first off, if there's an issue of that, then you need to make me aware, so I can start handling some of those things. Because that's my job. If I'm not made aware, if you're not telling me,
I've asked for simple things. I've asked for a monthly copy of what building permits came out. You know what I heard? I heard that you can't be passing out that personal information from people. You can't do, and you can't, it's like that he wants to live in his own island, and we're not supposed to get involved.
Is it warmer?
You know, I hope so. But, you know, so, I mean, I have more issues than we really should actually be sitting here discussing them all. But think about it. If he is that distant now, you think with a contract he's gonna be any different? If the contract is right, I think they will. It's not that they're bad guys, but look, you know, how many people do you know think, if they can go around doing something, they will?
that's my biggest complaint right now, Chuck, is the fact that you obviously had these feelings for over a year and a half. Why did you wait till today?
I have said you
But
saw
no,
the
no, no,
law.
no, 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 no. You have never said anything to me about a contract and getting all this stuff now.
No, the contract just came up between the last meeting and this meeting.
But I'm saying, we have been talking about this and going through this for a year and a half. Okay,
But look how far back I just started discussing the reasons why I have these problems.
I got you, but you had these reasons and you had these problems from the beginning, and then it should have been handled. Because now we're still talking about this and, you know, and now Jim has put it out there and Dawn is seconding it. So there's gonna be a vote.
can I have my time back?
Yes.
The one thing is, like, there's been a lot going back and forth here, and I'm not saying I understand every piece of it, but Chuck mentioned that they have given us a contract.
I've never seen it.
They submitted it when they submitted to take the position again.
So they
When we
submitted us.
advertised to get third-party inspection.
Okay,
So that was part of their quote, their bid.
So they submitted us a contract, and if I understand this correctly, then by appointing them, we're agreeing to their contract?
No.
No.
All right, correct me, please.
If by appointing them, you are appointing them in accordance with your RFP. It does not have any type of, I don't know what their contract says, I have not seen it. That being said, you're appointing them according to your RFP.
RFP.
Their request for proposals.
Oh, so this is a
So when we
request.
say certain inspection services, we need residential, non-residential, so that's what, now, you can adopt and say, we wanna hire this company, and with the contingency that they sign a contract drafted by our solicitor, and if they don't accept it, then it is not, they're not our, third party.
That should be in the motion. If we're actually, if that motion is to consider them the first choice, if they can't comply with everything that comes up from tonight until that contract is put out in front of them, then they can step aside.
I think Jim did say that he would make that amendment to the motion.
I think he already did.
I did it, you guys
And Dawn
listened
seconded.
15 minutes ago.
Correct.
We could have been done and voted and moved on to like new business B. But
He did say
you guys
it.
keep
He
talking,
did say that.
yeah.
And I
All
will
right,
second it.
Mr. President,
So,
take charge.
at this point, we can beat this to be a dead horse.
It's already dead.
So it doesn't matter who we pick, because if the contract is the contract, it doesn't matter the employer, right? Because they all have to follow our contract.
Correct.
Yes,
Okay, so you're happy then, right?
that's what I've said since we
Okay.
started talking about it.
Can we have a vote, Mr. President?
Yes, and we're gonna have to roll call vote this.
Mr. Goggle?
Yes.
Ms. Flynn,
Yes.
Mr. Cherry,
No.
Mr. Godaware,
Yes.
Mr. Nemitz.
Yes.
Mr. Vaca.
Yes.
Motion passes with 5 yeses and 1 no.
Okay.
Okay.
Now that gives, Mr. President.
Yes.
That gives our solicitor permission to write up.
Correct, correct.
Thank you. I want to put it out there so that the public say, well,
I got you. All right, discussion and deliberation and official action on the 2025 street paving project. Ed, you're up.
Okay, first question for you, Mill Street and Oak Street, they're gonna be paid out of the sanitary sewer fund, is that correct?
Yeah, so Ed and I had talked about this since we have all this sewer work going on. And we had previously talked to Chelsea about it, since the sewer project is tearing up a large portion of Oak Street, some of the intersections of Grace, part of Mill and the Kelby, we would be able to pay that out of the sewer budget. That would be one, separate contract. And then since we were, Ed and I thought since we were gonna be working in that area anyway, maybe we look at paving some or all of observatory that we hadn't done up top last time from the top down. We don't know what those numbers are gonna be, obviously, but that's what our thoughts were for paving next year. It would have to go out as 2 separate, bids. Because one's out of the sewer fund, one's out of the general.
And that's roughly about 2,400 feet if we would go up from Gregory down to Race Street.
Yeah, that observatory's gotten fairly beat up over the last 3 to 5 years with water breaks.
Well, that Cleveland dip is horrible.
I don't think we're gonna be able to pay that out though.
Well, they gotta be able to take something out. Ease it up at least.
We can look at it, but I don't know if you can, because if you look at the way it comes down on the side
It's
there.
horrible, just so you know.
But you can't take too much of that.
No, I got
do
it.
What are you gonna do
Right.
across?
I got you, I got it.
You know what I mean? Then you're gonna create a bigger issue for cross. It's like it's really slows down.
Oh, it does work. It does. It slows me down.
Joe, you're talking about 2026.
No, 2025.
Pay this year.
This year. We may not be able to put out the payment later, depending on how long the sewer project takes. We can certainly start getting numbers together and then can get estimates together for everything and,
Has anybody else had any thoughts about streets that they?
Yeah, I got one, and I know that it's not been, it has been, beat up, in and out of being bid. I thought it was supposed to be paid 2 years ago, and it turned out only half got paid. We do have an obligation to do it. It's Harding Street. Harding Street's a disaster, the other side of it. It's probably the worst I've seen in town.
So we're looking right now tonight to see, to kind of get numbers, so they can give us numbers.
if that's what you want.
So,
You should get the numbers on it. And whether we do it or not right now, or we patch it, whatever.
Right.
I think it's probably best to, get it at least to this bid. If it turns out it's cheaper to do something else, we can always address that. Or if the price is right, maybe we just do it and kind of clear the table with that. You know what I mean?
Mr. President.
yeah,
Second Street, where the extension comes down and leads.
that
to,
right on the side.
What street?
Second.
Second Street.
What extension?
They call it the, Second
alley?
Street Extension.
The alley?
Yeah, but it's listed as the Second Street Extension. Okay, but the alley, where it
Right,
leads
it's-
to Second, the divot is so huge and it's crumbled all the way out. And I've been told it was because of the way some drainage was in homes. No, it's that people have run over it because they're trying not to bottom out. So they go across, the sidewalks. It hasn't been done since I've lived there.
We need to make a motion.
Which
to ask
street?
them to do
Where-
this.
Second Street.
Second.
You don't have to, with
I mean,
this,
there's-
just give them.
We can certainly look at whatever streets you want, but if we're looking to do Observatory Street,
That's gonna need a.
and we're looking to do all of that we haven't done, I don't see us having any more money left in the paving budget. We may not even have enough to do all of Observatory in preliminary discussions with that.
Yeah, but here's my point. If we bid 12 roads, and it turns out that Observatory still should be the leader, we're gonna know how much money is left after that. We're gonna know what other roads are out here.
Well, then you're gonna
It
have
doesn't hurt us to have.
You're gonna have to decide what road you want to bid out and what roads are the alternate and write it such in the contract that you don't have to take the alternate. Because
Yes,
if you bid all these roads out and a bid comes back and it's more than we can spend, then you gotta reject the whole bid. You get nothing though.
Okay.
so you should, do it as alternates without a doubt, because you're able to, so that.
How big does your primary, as I call it, right, primary, the first road? The road is not an alternate, what do you call it?
The road is what? Base bid, yeah.
Base bid, that's the one you basically are saying, I wanna do this.
I wanna do it.
And then the alternates, no matter how many you list under there, are they that if we throw out the first one, we can pick whatever we want individually?
You can write it that way,
You can
but,
write it that
but
way.
I will tell you this, if we start going like all over the borough with these little sections of road, you're gonna pay a lot in mobilization costs.
Yeah,
Because they're gonna charge you mobilization every time they move from A to B, that's,
if they.
when Ed and I talked, that's why we were hoping, if we could keep everything over there, you know what I mean? And with observatory being 2,400 feet, we maybe get a decent price, the same contractor would bid on all those projects, knowing that they have all that work to do, and then stage one, so be done with it. That was our thought.
I get it, and it makes a lot of sense, but, I wouldn't want to leave, some parts of town we really don't give much services to because of things like that.
Well,
And I don't wanna get to that point where it's like we can't reach out and satisfy parts of our
I mean,
time.
since that's kind of on an island over there, maybe
Yeah.
we put that on for 2026, we patch what we can in 2025 to keep it passable, because we could probably do not only that section of Harding, but maybe Westmoreland into Shade and Elm.
Well, if we can satisfy the people over there by saying our plan this year is to cold patch the worst road, just to get through it, we do it in-house. And we tell them that we are seriously going to be bringing up their part of town in the next, I don't know, 3 years, something. Because we can't just slight any road or anybody. you know?
No, we really
gotta
haven't.
clean it
If
fair.
you look at the past paving history, that was all paved back there in recent history. I mean, we've been working on, in the last 10 years, roads that hadn't been paved in 30-some years.
Yeah.
Like, I was shocked when we paved Longview, and one longtime resident up there told me that road hadn't been paved in close to 40 years.
Yeah.
So,
Our roads are not, as a whole, they're not in bad shape.
No, they're not.
Not compared to what they were.
we're almost to the
20
point,
years ago.
we're almost to the point now where we're not gonna have much base repair to do, and we can get to the point where we can do a build and overlay on the rest of the roads, which will stretch our paving dollars that much further.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is, Mill Street, Oak Street, Observatory Street, maybe this.
McKelvey.
McKelvey Street, yeah, McKelvey.
Harding,
Well, then Hardy would be the alternate.
yeah,
Well, second would be an alternate.
Or you can have a 2-year plan or a 3-year. I mean, you could adopt that, that's not unusual to do that. You know, as long as you're in agreement with doing it.
Yeah, the only problem with that is sometimes your plan has to get adjusted if something gets blown up in the meantime, for some unknown reason, so. You know, because, I mean, let's face it, Observatory is one of the heavily traveled streets over there. I mean, And the section over there, Harding and stuff, doesn't get as much cars, so I think if we put it off to 26, with patching and stuff, we can make it last.
Well, I think that's what Adam was
Yeah,
trying to
it's,
say.
you know, it's like listening to babies. If that's what you're really gonna do is go over, give them a little kiss to kind of keep them happy, their cars aren't gonna get beat up, and we give them the understanding we are seriously considering them as a project, I think the people will be a lot better, you know, and with, it may spur sales and, people fixing our problems. So in the long run, it's never a bad idea. So.
Usually what we do is we walk the road, and the time we walk into public works. So I don't know what, like, one of the big things is driveways, or not, driveways that need cutting from the curb line, but also, stormwater inlets, and if there's wet spots, you know, behind the curb, like we talked last year up there on Rob Road, we were concerned
Yeah.
about that. I think we addressed all of that this year in the paving.
That's it, we gotta put some drainage up there on Rock Road with piping and stuff.
Right, so I mean, those are all costs, and can the public works get that done, you know, how soon, I don't know what their workload is gonna be. That's something that they usually done before we pay, so.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I got a question. Anything going on with Oak Street, or are they done for the winter?
Well, we had a meeting, you want to talk about
Yeah,
it?
so we had a utility complication on Other Street with the water.
I know.
So that's why they stopped for right now. And we met with the water company, a very productive, positive meeting about relocating the water line. I think right now we can get some information back from them, back and forth with their engineer. In the meantime, they're moving over to start on the Kelp, so they can get that done. They
Thursday
just,
and Friday, right?
I'm sorry, what?
Thursday and Friday.
So, start on Thursday. They anticipate about-
I just got a text that says the machinery, because of the cold. weather,
Won't start?
Won't start, so he's gonna start, he's looking at Friday start.
Okay, so Friday start, I wasn't aware of that, but I
just
wondered
got a
that.
text that-
But they're looking to be over there about 6 weeks. And by then, hopefully, the water line interference will be relocated, and they can move back over to Oak Street and continue on their way.
So, then I have an additional question. Will the residents be able to park on Oak Street and Second Street now?
They have been able to.
No, the road close sign is still up, and the poster is still up that says, anyone not moved will be towed.
So, anybody that has asked, we've told them they can park there, and I thought all around the close signs would take it down.
Okay, we'll.
And the
Well-
road close sign, the physical.
Well, I can tell you people are parking on Oak Street, so apparently,
I tried to pass a message out, but
okay.
then they told others that they were starting on maybe number 9. So we wouldn't be able to park there.
No, they didn't. They most certainly did not. They didn't tell anybody they were starting on Oak Street on January 9th.
They were starting at work on January 9th.
Yeah, over on the Kelly.
Right. Unless it wasn't communicated.
So everybody's okay with what we got going on so far with this?
They don't get started.
Okay. We don't need a motion for that, right?
No.
We already discussed it.
All right, so new business, discussion and or deliberation and or official action on requests for Manor VFD for solicitor to draft a resolution to allow the Manor VFD to apply for another LSA grant. What are the wishes of council?
We kind of already talked about that, didn't we? Yeah, I thought we talked about
Okay.
that. Chelsea's gonna look into it.
Okay, yeah.
So it sounds like you might wanna keep this on the agenda and table it for next month, and then I will be able to, do you want me to do the resolution though? If you want a resolution, you can, I don't need a motion for you to tell me to draft.
Good, so you don't know if you
Yeah.
wait for it, so why get a resolution?
Right, so, all right, I'll report back to you next month about what liabilities Manor Borough will have.
In the meantime, they're also gonna give us a plan. So if they put a plan together,
Not for next month. That plan's gonna take a while to put together.
They probably won't know.
that whole would, but even one page.
Okay. So we don't have to make a motion to table.
I make a motion to table.
Do I have a second?
For,
Table.
second.
Any further comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Discussion and or deliberation and or official action on the borough helping the Manor VFD with the purchase of a new fire truck. What are the wishes of council?
Motion to table.
Second it.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Chuck.
So,
They do second,
Dawn.
Okay. so-
do you know what we're tabling?
The discussion on purchasing, or helping them purchase the truck.
Okay, but
I mean, we're in discussion, so if you have an idea.
Dave, do you wanna discuss what this was? Cause you asked to put this
Yeah,
on.
if you want, go ahead.
This was, if you guys remember back in, I think it was November, December, where I said about, the interest earning from the borough and trying to help them get some money for a new truck. Come up with an idea to help them get some money. So, you know, been talking with Dave and talking with Joe and trying to come up with a way. We budget $25,000, I think it is, in interest earnings on the money. Last year, I'm just gonna use round numbers because I don't know the exact, we got about 50,000. So, just thinking outside of the box because you never know what you're gonna get. I think trying to help them get some money is we can come up with some kind of game plan to where we give them a percentage of something over what we budget. So we budget 25 and we get 50, we give them a percentage of that extra 25. We make a percentage and we make it for so many years. So maybe if there's a year that we only get to 25 or we get less, then we can't help them. If we make a lot more money, they get more money. You know what I'm saying?
I
It's a
understand.
percentage.
I understand
And maybe we make it up to a certain dollar amount. And if it takes,
Minimum maximum.
yeah.
But if you set a minimum maximum, is it a minimum no matter what our interest rate, what we collect, we make or lose?
That's
Can we
why
set them a minimum?
we're
no
not,
matter
we're not
what?
sure.
No,
It's
that's
just a
fine.
way to try to help these guys, but it also has to be that, you know, we have to order a truck. You know, we just can't, at some point, we gotta put the hammer down, and we gotta do it, whether it's a low interest loan, you know, get the grant, whatever, but we gotta order a truck. And I think ordering a truck, I would also think that maybe somebody from safety or whatever be part of that process in order, or like be part of your committee in helping build a truck. You know, somebody, I don't know. You know, get somebody from council or a couple people from council involved with you guys. You know, are you okay with that?
that. I'll definitely bring it up. I mean, I'm not.
You're not
decide-
okay with it?
I'm sorry?
You're not okay with
I didn't
council
say
being
that.
involved?
I said I'm not the deciding factor on that. I don't have a problem with it myself, but, I mean, two people here isn't the whole
No,
lot.
I get that.
Right, it's something that we would have to ask the body. Neither Greg or I have a problem with it. I think it's a great idea, and I really think that council should be involved in, because it's a big purchase on both ends, on our end, and that council helps us, that the borough helps us. I do think council, but we still have to present it to the body and vote on it. Do I think it's gonna get turned down? No. But we'd have to vote on it as a body.
But I think this is a way that it doesn't affect, council budget per se, right? Because it's.
It does. It definitely does. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this about the fire department. I have no problem in trying to find ways to help them. But you're not presenting it as it is. You're taking the money off the top line.
We're not putting.
It's income.
We're not guaranteeing them so much money.
I understand that. I understand that. It's not about them.
No, I get it.
I'm talking about if you have a revenue-driven product, and that's what we have. We have a product there that drives a revenue. That revenue is now going, you're gonna take a piece of that revenue out for some use off the top end of it. You're not taking it out after all of our expenses. If you take the first 25,000, as you said, then we're gonna keep that. Then it's okay, budget that $25,000 every year. But the top end revenue, and the reason for it to be there, is it continues to grow from there. It's in essence thought of as, you don't have to raise your prices because you did get it this year, keep numbers where they were. That's, in our case, that's the taxpayer. Because of certain monies we're getting on the top end, we don't even have to address tax increase. So if you want to avoid tax increase, you have to be careful of what you take out of your top end income. So granted, this may be a way to go to do that. I don't have a problem getting the money to help with that. It's just that we just have to be careful of the fact that that's also a cushion to keep us from getting other
But Chuck,
expenses.
what we're hopefully gonna discuss is maybe like a 20% or 25%.
I understand, I do understand, I have no problem with that. I'm talking about any dollar there is that we take out of revenue, even though it's not in the budget.
I get it.
That money offsets maybe an expense we should have had there.
Right.
And the last thing you wanna do is
And
not
that
have
is part of
that.
the reason why we haven't raised taxes in the last 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, you're a guy that wants to say we don't raise taxes, but you gotta be careful when you're talking about costs. So, it's a sharp edge.
So that was the discussion, thinking outside of the box. Because for them to say, hey, they're gonna want us to pay half of $500,000, it's not there. I tell them all the time, I'm sorry, it's just not there. I don't know how else to try to help them get money. Other than that.
And what's that, and on the assumption, you said it was 50,000 we got, if you do it after, 25, if they got half of that, you're talking about 12,500 on 50? Is that what they would get?
Well, that's whatever percentage we decide that we want to do.
Okay.
You know, we could make it over 10 years, we can make it 5 years,
No, what I mean is, maybe I didn't hear it right. You gotta get these things. If it was 50,000 last year, is that what you said?
yeah,
You were saying we're gonna keep the first 25.
right.
Okay. Of the other 25, did I hear right that you would give them half of everything over 25 or
No.
everything over 25?
No, a percentage of.
Okay, so you didn't determine that percentage yet?
No, that's why we had that on here to discuss. And we could say, hey, this is a bad idea. I don't even know if it's plausible legally.
So I think you can do that, you can write it in that format, however, what I find is if you do it over a 5-year or 10-year period, you're binding future councils of that money that they could otherwise use for different projects. And so you may not want, it's not that that's illegal, but you have to watch how far out you're gonna go with something like that.
I get you.
So if you do it
We're
for
not
10
allowed to
years,
bind next council.
well, you might not be here in 5 years, and
So
your
you're-
new council might have wanted to use that extra $25,000 to do something.
Yeah, and rather than break an agreement,
But
you'll wanna leave it.
it's not like those things don't happen, it's just how far out. 5 years is a little more reasonable than 10. You know what I'm saying?
That's on your capital right now, you're reconvening specific amount, so we wanna give them, and again, I'm just gonna use the number, say it's $10,000 this year, that you're gonna buy this next period, that's it. And then next year, at this time, we revisit that again, and we have the same discussion, then we can see exactly what you have left in the bag, as far as your profits on your interest. And then a decision can be made from there, so, okay, well, wait, maybe we can do more of this, if we get really good. Or we see that we can't do it, so that we cut it back. We do it every year, so here's 50 grand, we're done.
Well, at least that would be it, but I mean, I think it's twofold. I think the unknown for the fire department is that, are they gonna get money in, say, 2026 based off the interest we earned in 2025? They won't know that, but they're buying a truck.
Yeah, we can't put them at risk like that.
Right, they're buying a truck with a payment of
Maybe.
several thousand, multiple thousands of dollars. And they have to be able to know that, okay, we can pay this, that the borough has given us X, we have Y, and that equals Z for the payment, but I'm just saying out loud, I think
What prevents
there's a lot of
after
that.
next year, then say, hey, we've taken that $50,000 and we've used it, we need more.
Well, they're always gonna say,
They're always gonna do that.
I mean, that's.
May think you just say you come up with, like Jim said, you wanna come up with
What's the
lump
total-
sum, that
what's
you
the
order a
total
truck, we can
budget
give you
now?
X towards the truck right now.
2025.
It goes towards the down payment or whatever.
Isn't it 37?
And listen, the reason why.
37.5.
What are you talking about?
What was in this year's budget?
What is it?
Here's sort of.
37.5 plus, are we paying for equipment, repairs and things like that?
No.
We all, that's in 37?
And if you
We give them
use all
a-
that interest.
Councils have it in the past, paid for fixes above
If
and
you use all that
beyond.
interest now, and they do come down.
But right now, we
Now you
have,
just put
that's
a
not,
budget for future,
that's all budgeted in.
Yeah.
because you put it in your budget.
You're not putting it in the budget every year. Send that, you do it 1 year. And each year you will revisit what your budget is. and what you
When
want.
I do my budget, we have a 7-year. And I go.
So,
year.
Isn't it basically?
It's the Trump budget, it's not like it's full mill, it's all
That's not what we budget.
And more fish. But you still see how much.
So we budgeted, $37,655, and then there was an additional estimate of another like $38.50 for the volunteer service credit, not knowing who's eligible, who isn't eligible, based on some.
yeah, but that we're obligated to pay, am I correct?
If they apply for it.
Right, not 38.
They do what they're supposed to do, yeah, we're
Yeah, but
obligated.
that's not money they can spend on a truck.
No, that's money,
So-
it goes back to them.
That 37.6 is
37,655.
the maximum amount they can spend however they want.
They can
If
spend-
that's towards a truck, it's towards a truck.
They can do for whatever they want,
Right, so.
as long as the
If
amount
we-
purchased under the borough.
If when she gets the liability issue out of the way, sorry, no, Chuck. Sorry, I do that sometimes, and I apologize. But if they come back with a plan that says, if we get this amount of money, and we have our contribution of this, and we need this, and this is our payment, how much is it gonna be a year? That's gonna be the key, and if they get, stretch that out for 15 years, if that obligation is $50,000 a year, now you know what you're looking at.
Well, is there any further comments or questions on this? We do have a motion.
No, that's fine.
Okay, yeah. Everybody remembers the motion?
Are we tabling it until February or just till a future date?
You may.
Chuck, did you say to table this till next month?
Or a future date when we have
Next
more?
month, February. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Is there any correspondence?
No, sir.
I need an approval to pay the bills.
I make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Is there a need for executive session?
Yes.
Make a motion, we go to executive session.
Do I have a second?
motion.
Only if it's short.
All those in favor? I heard one eye. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Your friends in here, terrible weather, right on the roll. Their bank statements. We would look at all that.
So you're out of here?
At the end
Everybody take a candy cane.
Yeah, definitely.
That's off the tree over there.
So somebody's got to eat them, so
Oh,
take
yeah,
them.
I had one. Tiffany had one.
Do you have anybody?
I
you
already
know?
have a stash at home, too. But they,
Did you get a candy cane?
I'll use my other kid for I can't do that.
But it sounds like either way, it sounds like the second day. However, I would ask you guys, does their accounting say pension was way under the accounting standard?
You deliver it. Where are you going?
You're looking for the treasurer, the secretary that was doing this before me is one of the perfect systems. The one that's coming in right now, doesn't know how to do it.
What did they do in the past? Okay, let's go over here real quick.
Yeah, both of them. And then pay the one.
hey.
Girlfriend, what a mess, huh?
Yeah.
What did you get? Yeah.
You need a new one? I didn't have a new one on my desk. What's wrong? This shit was in the wrong box. It's not.
I can't see you back there.
motion to get back in
Make a
session?
motion, we return to the executive session.
I'll second
All those in favor?
Aye.
Who made the motion?
Terry made the motion, Don
Well, I
seconded.
seconded it.
Made it on the run.
And Sonny's over here voting.
So it sounds like we all voted.
I'm trying really hard,
Well,
okay?
quit it, you're gonna get us in trouble. The solicitor's sitting right there.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I have one eye for getting back into session.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Opposed? Motion carries. Chelsea, you're up.
We were in executive session for, contracts and personnel matters.
All right, citizens' comments. Tiffany Kowalski. Do I say that right?
It's close enough, Kowalski, but
Kowalski.
I mean, it's one of those names that get messed up so much that I really just go with whatever. So now that Terry moved this, I gotta go stand over in that corner. So I'm actually not speaking on behalf of the fire department for once. Some of my questions, comments, concerns were actually already addressed. They're all about Oak Street, Mill Street, and Ray Street. So Oak Street, as Dawn already said, all the signs are still up that the road's closed. Now, I did notice the past couple of days you can drive the whole way down Oak Street, but the bottom of Oak Street is a holy terror. And now because Oak Street can't be finished, they're gonna move to Mill Street, which means that area of Ray Street that is a muddy mess is going to get even worse here now because that's the only way in and out of the hills. So my question is, why did we not know before the digging started that there was an issue with the water company?
It was mismarked.
They mismarked their lines.
Okay.
The water company mismarked their lines.
Okay,
And there were some Verizon lines that weren't where they were supposed to be.
okay, because Oak's a mess. It's a terror to drive down.
Well, I know the upper part, and that's on us. We've been going out there trying to fill in the upper part, water coming through, that's on the borough.
Right,
The bottom part is on the contractor, and Ed and I have discussed this. He's gotta maintain those trench lines, Ed. That's on him, so we need to make sure he's aware of that. He doesn't have to cold patch them or asphalt, but he is required to stone them and maintain those throughout construction,
right.
so.
I did hear that we are going to get them paved eventually. Is this the normal way that it doesn't get paved immediately after the work's done? Or is it because they thought they were going right into Oak and that's why it was left?
The upper part?
No, the bottom on Race Street where Oak meets Race.
Well, they didn't know they were gonna hit the water line interference, so they were gonna do all of Oak and be done with it.
Okay,
Yeah, they had hoped it'd be done actually before Christmas, to be honest with you, but the intersection was a nightmare.
so is Mill Street the only other street that's getting worked on?
McKelvey and Mill, it's right there, McKelvey and Mill.
Okay,
Mill Street's gonna be closed from Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
okay, so it will be open certain times during the
It should be open between 5 p.m. and 7 a.m.
Okay,
daily,
okay,
and all weekend.
all right, that makes it easier at night for us who would have to go turn around because there's no fire truck that can make that angle, to get up onto Race Street, but Mill Street's been closed before, so.
And that's not starting until Friday, right, Ed?
Now it's starting Friday, it was Thursday, but now it's Friday, I understand.
Friday's gonna be the coldest day of the year, so they really won't start.
Right, if they're concerned about it not starting. Why did we choose winter to do this? Wouldn't warmer weather have been a better time instead of?
If you're sliding down the hill, those dips slow you down.
Well, that's the other issue. In my four-wheel drive truck, I'm still sliding at the bottom of Oak Street where it's not paved.
Oh,
I have slid both days. I did not slide this evening, but in my four-wheel drive truck, because to get out of my driveway, I need four-wheel drive. I'm still sliding at the bottom of the hill.
wow.
So like, why did we choose winter weather rather than warmer weather to?
Water, didn't the water
Do things
authority
with
say
water.
weren't they in
So,
control of getting
There
it
was
started?
multiple things that went into this project. The water company was
Yeah.
an issue at first, so getting the ball rolling, it just happened to roll that into that.
Okay.
So,
I mean, he
and
could have
now-
started earlier, but his submittals weren't, completed later than sooner, and it's just, you know,
Mhm.
It's not out of the norm.
Okay. Now, there's also rumors that this company is only working part-time in Manor and that they're also doing work in Penn Township, and that's why the work's not getting done as fast
I don't know if
as,
that's,
do you
I
know
don't think
if
that's
that?
the reason at this
Okay.
point, because he hasn't started working in Penn Township yet. And he has a date when all work here has to be done, barring if he gets any rain delays.
Right.
So,
What's his anticipated finish date?
I couldn't hear you, Chuck.
What
What's his
say?
anticipated date?
Finish day.
Finish date, it's May,
Beginning of May.
beginning of May.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. All right.
Any more correspondence?
No, that is all.
I have one thing.
Hold on. Go ahead.
If you're okay with it, I'd like to put on next month's agenda, since we're talking about LSA grants, to discuss an LSA grant for a building on that South Borough Street property, because we are completely out of storage room for equipment and backhoes and all that.
Did you guys get that email today?
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I did send out some properties an email, so.
Dave, did you get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm just kind of lost on how we got here. We basically, bought equipment that we had no way of getting it inside.
Well,
Now we
mainly,
gotta buy
it's
a
mainly the backhoes that I'm concerned about.
Where do you wanna build?
And
I mean, what do you wanna build on another site? You know what I'd rather do?
We have nowhere
Something else.
to, we have nowhere to build on the curb side.
Well, this would be a great discussion for the committee, to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that is right, because realistically, you got the road done down there now, you got the bridge done down there. That property should have a specific use that gives you elbow room. And yeah, we should be looking at everything we got.
Okay. All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.